Oh, still a bit wet this morning. Just gotta wait for it to dry and then we'll go for a ride. Has the seat dried yet? Oh yeah, it has. I really can't be bothered doing this now. I've got a coffee to drink and the weather looks bad. Go. Flip helmets are the best. I just love them. So anyway, I've finally come around to taking the time to have a quick look at my scooter, the Aprilia SR Max 300. Yeah, this isn't going to be like a full review. There are plenty of reviews on YouTube. You know, that Greek guy who says you can do some enduro with it because of the ground clearance and so on, which is something I don't recommend because you'll be falling on your ass. These things don't go off-road at all. What I do want to look at is what it's like after owning it for a few years and fairly high kilometers. I'm coming close to 70,000 on this, so I'll just go have a look at that in a second, and just a couple other things. Just want to go over some aftermarket parts available. I didn't put my top box on, but obviously that's available as well. Yeah, so we'll probably start with the kilometers. So as you can see, 68,780, fairly high. I think, you know, these will go a lot higher anyway. So we'll start at the front. Headlights are pretty good as long as you get some decent bulbs. I'm using Osram Night Racer Unlimited, I think. I've got a different one for the high beam, which is pretty bright, and it's, you know, if you adjust them properly, then it's perfect for night riding. There's no issue at all with lights. But as you can see, the headlight that's always on is a bit faded compared to the other one. I think that's probably inside and the outside, but the headlights are pretty good. Now the main thing which I don't like is the fact that you only get one brake rotor up the front. I know that some other models like the Piaggio, Beverly and so on, with the same engine, same size, similar weight, same power, come out with the twin discs on the front, same as the Gilera Nexus 500, which is basically the same thing with the 460cc engine. All the mounting points for the second rotor and caliper are up here, so you can fix the caliper on there. It's got the rotor mounting point on the wheel. It's got the mounts up the top here where you can put the bracket in for the brake hose. So it's just a matter of getting a proportioning valve and fitting that in. But of course in Australia everything needs to be engineered, even though stuff comes out standard like that pretty much everywhere. Although I don't like the idea of having the front and rear brakes coupled like on some of the scooters. So brakes aside, no other real issues like that. Rear brake is pretty good. Just stock standard. I do have my lossy rotor on the front. I don't know if it makes much difference. I'm using their red pads, so I go pretty much full throttle everywhere. So I brake hard, and I do go through the brake pads quite a bit. Now I won't go into the under seat storage and the other storage compartments and all that sort of crap. Basically, like I said, look at some of the issues with it, what aftermarket parts you can get. Now another big thing that's worn out on this is the swing arm. Swing arm bushings and bearings are totally stuffed. You notice that when going around corners, it just feels like the back end is sliding out. So I'm going to have to buy some, I was going to buy the bushings and bearings, but you can buy complete swing arm pieces ready to go, and they're fairly cheap, so I'll do that. But one of the things that's happened is because of the flex, my right rear shock has started to leak. I don't know if you can see the amount of movement there. It's a fair bit, and you really notice it going around corners. It just feels like the back end is collapsing, and as you can see on my back tire, I go pretty much to the edge, so like I said, I go pretty hard. I ride it like a sports bike because it looks like a sports bike. So apart from that, failures, you may recall I did the video on the rear drive spindle shaft breaking in half, or the end breaking at the weld. So that's one thing. Another thing I had go wrong was the injector. So one of these went, it just died. So that's the first thing I checked, pulled the plug off, did a resistance check, and it was cactus. So just a matter of ordering another one and putting it in and plugging it on, and that fixed the problem. I did originally think that it was the fuel pump, but no issues with that. So two major failings: the rear drive spindle thing and the injector. Wear and tear, swing arm bushes, a cactus, and of course I replaced the rear shocks a while ago because the other ones were not up to scratch. Well, that's about it for that. So at 70,000 kilometers, it's still pretty good. I think if you keep it original, you don't ride as hard as I do, and you just putter around, then I think the thing will just keep going and going without any issues. So let's have a look at some aftermarket parts. As you can see, I've got a aftermarket exhaust on here. It's pretty loud. It's a GPR exhaust. Bit cheaper than some of the other ones. I wasn't going to spend $600-700 for a Arrow exhaust. I think that's just ridiculous. It's just not, there's no value. So when I look at things, I look at the value, not just show off appeal. I mean, this exhaust looks like a piece of crap now. The sign fell off it's pretty dirty. Does the trick. It's got a silencer in the back, which I tried to do something with, and it's in aluminium and it wore out the groove a bit, so I had to put some metal plates in there to keep it from vibrating. But apart from that, it hasn't been too bad. Pretty loud. So you can really hear it when you're riding. Yeah, it's even louder when you take the silencer out the back. I've done that a few times. Don't recommend it. So let's have a look at the other thing I did, and that is fitting a Malossi cylinder and head, the V4 head with the bigger valves. Quite frankly, I nearly came close to buying the Polini racing camshaft with the extra valve lift, but I thought it's already got bigger valves. I'm really worried that the valves would hit the cylinder, hit the piston, so I just left it at that. But I did also get the what was it called again? Rapid Bike Easy. So I've got it set on 1. They say 2. I did a dyno tune on that as well. It was pretty average. I'll do another video on that anyway. So I've got that. Oh, and another thing I did have was a Malossi O2 controller thing, same as the Rapid Bike, but it's just looks like a relay type thing, and you plug it in and it increases the fuel ratio. But I had 2 of them and they both failed, so I'll do a video on that as well later. So anyway, now to the Malossi head and cylinder. So there you go, it says Malossi, aluminium cylinder. Pretty simple to bolt on. Yeah, not much really to say there. There is a video from, I don't know, the Vespa guys. They show you how to put it on, although they've got a shop and they're trying to sell it as well. I'm not trying to sell it, I'm just looking at things from an enthusiast point of view. So there's that. Aftermarket shock absorbers, I know someone wants to know about that. So yeah, and the other thing I got was, of course, a shad top box and little rack. That's pretty straightforward. Just bolts on, and supposed to put the plastic cover back on, but that's about it. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so a bit of wear and tear, 2 original parts damaged. That's over the course of 70,000 kilometers, and it's a 2012 model, so 2019 now, so a bit over 7 years. Hard riding, hard braking, hard cornering. Yeah, lots of stuff available aftermarket if you know where to look. Sometimes you have to look at other models like, you know, Vespa, Piaggio, with the similar sort of things. Cross match sizes and part numbers if you can. I know if you ring up part suppliers, they just look in the catalogue and they just tell you that nothing's available, when in fact there is, because I know these things. I used to have a online auto parts shop, and I used to cross-reference parts, and there's different part numbers for the same parts and for different models. So there is a lot of stuff available, and then again, they can be hard to come by. So overall, at 70,000 kilometers, looking good. You know, I ride to work daily, about 15,000 kilometers a year. So it's pretty much all I can think of now. So if you've got any questions, just let me know in the comments section, and I'll do some more videos soon on yeah, the rear shocks I got, the Molossi kit, and of course the Rapid Bike Easy module, and of course some of the other problems I had with some of the Molossi stuff, like the multivar, and well, no, didn't have problems with the multivar, but the way it comes just didn't work properly. I'm actually playing with that right now with different roller weights. And what else? Anyway, well, that'll do for now. So yeah, well, that's Aprilia SR Max. It's well worth it. If you can find a good second-hand one, I say go for it. It's a good looking scooter. Looks like a sports bike. Could have a better engine. I would have liked to see the 350 or something like that in there when they upgraded it from Gilera to Aprilia. Would have made more sense. But no, it goes good. Good on the highway. Good on most surfaces. It's very well balanced, and apart from some wear and tear, no, I love it. It's great. But I will be looking at upgrading to something a bit bigger. I think it's nearly time for that. Although then again, I might keep this and keep riding this to work. So there you have it. Might be a bit long for this video, but yeah, just a few things to be said. So alright, I'll see you on the next one, if I have time to do it. See ya.